Welcome to a new episode from English Plus Podcast. Today's episode is Word Power, and we will talk about the rescue of the Peregrine Falcon. So, we will talk about this interesting topic, and we will learn 10 new words while we're doing it. So, without further ado, let's start right away with our story about the rescue of the Peregrine Falcon. Few sights are as gratifying to American environmentalists as that of a peregrine falcon nesting high on a rocky cliff. From the 1940s until the early 1990s, the very existence of this beautiful bird of prey in North America was threatened. Noted for their speed and skill in flight, peregrine falcons are small to medium-sized hawks. The diet of young peregrines consists mainly of butterflies and dragonflies. Adults gorge themselves on rodents or small birds that they often capture in flight with a spectacular show of skill, strength, and speed. Peregrines average about 50 miles per hour in normal level flight. However, scientists believe that when peregrines swoop toward their prey, they can attain speeds of 200 to 300 miles per hour. Peregrines tend to reside in treeless tundra regions such as the Arctic areas of Alaska and Canada. They construct hidden nests in areas that are the natural habitats of birds, mice, lemmings, and other small rodents. In the late 1940s, North American peregrines began to disappear at a rapid and unaccountable pace. By the early 1970s, the decline was widespread. Eventually, scientists determined what had happened. Up until 1972, Americans refused to heed warnings about the effect on the food chain and used DDT and other pesticides to control insect populations. When fish, birds, and small rodents eat insects or grain treated with pesticides, they take in the toxins from the pesticides. Creatures that feed on these animals eat the poisons that have accumulated in the animals' bodies. Since peregrines eat so many birds and rodents, they were exposed to massive amounts of poison. The poisons affected the eggs that the falcons laid. The eggshells were so weak that they broke easily. Most eggs that did survive never hatched. The falcons that did hatch were too few in number to continue the population. In the early 1970s, environmentalists took action. The American and Arctic peregrine was placed on a list of endangered species. In 1972, laws were passed banning most uses of DDT. The United States Fish and Wildlife Service, along with other environmental agencies, established a recovery program that reintroduced peregrines into the wild. Today, thousands of peregrine pairs nest throughout Arctic North America and Alaska. So, that was our story about the rescue of the peregrine falcon, this amazing creature. You might have seen it on National Geographic before or not. If you haven't, check it out. I'm pretty sure there's a lot about the peregrine falcon on the internet in general or even on YouTube if you want. It's such a great kind of falcon that is definitely worth saving. And now let's move on and talk about the words we have for today. But before we do that, let me remind you that you can take the link I will leave in the description and go to our website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com. The link will lead you to a custom post we created specifically for this episode. You will find the text about the rescue of the peregrine falcon, of course, and you will also find the keywords and a PDF downloadable worksheet with exercises, crossword puzzles, and other interesting activities. And also there are interactive activities that you can do on the website. So if you want to improve your English, take the link in the description, go to our website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com, and take your English with it to the next level. And there's also another link that will take you to our Patreon page if you would like to support English Plus to create more content and reach more people. You can become our patron on Patreon. And now, without further ado, let's start talking about our very first word, and that is gratifying. Now, let's take a look at how we used it in context. We said few sights are as gratifying to American environmentalists as that of a peregrine falcon nesting high on a rocky cliff. Now, our word is gratify, gratify. What do we mean by gratify? Now, if you are gratified by something, it gives you pleasure or satisfaction. So, there are very few things that are as satisfying to see as the sight of the peregrine falcon nesting high on a rocky cliff. That is the meaning of gratifying. Now, for our next word, gorge. We said adults gorge themselves on rodents or small birds that they often capture in flight with a spectacular show of skill, strength, and speed. Now, the word is gorge, and that is gorge. If you gorge on something or gorge yourself on it, you eat lots of it in a very greedy way. And now for our next word, attain. We said they can attain speeds, and here we're talking about when peregrines swoop toward their prey. We said that they can attain speeds of 200 to 300 miles per hour, which is incredible, of course. But our word here is attain, Attain. What's the meaning of attain? Now, if you attain something, you gain it or achieve it often after a lot of effort. So here we're saying like to reach something, to realize something. So that is the meaning of attain. Then our next word is habitat. We said that they construct hidden nests. Of course, we're talking about the peregrines here. They construct hidden nests in areas that are the natural habitats of birds, mice, lemmings, and other small rodents. Now, what do we mean by habitat, which is spelled, by the way, Habitat? Now, the habitat of an animal or plant is the natural environment in which it normally lives or grows. So that is the meaning of habitat. And then we have a very special word, unaccountable. We said in the late 1940s, North American peregrines began to disappear at a rapid and unaccountable pace. So, what is the meaning of unaccountable? Unaccountable, by the way, is spelled Unaccountable. Something that is unaccountable does not seem to have any sensible explanation. Inexplicable, mysterious, baffling, odd. That's unaccountable. And that's the pace peregrines began to disappear. And then our next word is heed. We said in the text, up until 1972, Americans refused to heed warnings about the effect on the food chain and they used DDT. So, what is the meaning of heed? Heed is spelled Heed. If you heed someone's advice or warning, you pay attention to it and do what they suggest. And here, obviously, Americans refused to heed warnings and they used DDT. And here we said they used DDT and other pesticides. Now, what is the meaning of pesticides? A pesticide, by the way, is spelled Pesticide. Pesticides are chemicals which farmers put on their crops to kill harmful insects. Some pesticides are okay to use, and some of them are bad to use, like DDT, which is banned anyway. So, pesticide, that is our word. Our next word is toxin, and it's closely related to pesticide in a way. Now, here we talked about the fish, the birds, small rodents. When they eat insects, they take in the toxins from the pesticides. And when peregrines ate those rodents, they took the toxins themselves. But our word here is toxin. Toxin is spelled Toxin. What is the meaning of toxin? A toxin is any poisonous substance produced by bacteria, animals, or plants that can kill, like poison or venom. And our next word is accumulate. We were still talking about this food chain and the creatures that feed on these animals. They eat the poisons that have accumulated in the animals' bodies. Now, what is the meaning of accumulate? But first, how is it spelled? Accumulate. When you accumulate things, or when they accumulate, they collect or get gathered over a period of time. Like when we say they build up, they increase, they grow. That is the meaning of accumulate. And our last word for today is ban. We said in 1972, laws were passed banning most uses of DDT. What is the meaning of banning, or the verb here, which is ban? Ban, by the way, is spelled B-A-N. To ban something means to state officially that it must not be done, shown, or used. And that is like saying to prohibit something, to bar or block something. So these were our 10 words, and this was our story about the rescue of the Peregrine Falcon. I hope you liked the story. I hope you liked the words and you learned some new words you can use in your writing and speaking. Remember, listening to the episode is great, and we're very happy to have you. But if you really want to remember those things and to use them in your active English, take the link in the description, go to our website, and use the exercises we created for you to make these words permanent in your active vocabulary bank. Now, that being said, this is your host, Danny. I would like to thank you very much for listening to another episode from English Plus Podcast. I will see you next time.